Hey, how's it going? I recently got my overlay set up for my Beastbox, as you can see here, and just wanted to show you guys how I did it in case it might be helpful to somebody else. There are existing guides on Hitbox overlays, even on Hitbox's actual website, but you can see here they use kind of an older image and they kind of require a lot more configuration than what we're going to do here. So hopefully this is helpful. And this method should actually work with different types of leverless controllers, not just Hitbox specifically, because you'll have a lot of options to customize what the background looks like, what the buttons look like, things like that. So first thing we're going to want to do is if you go over to the Beastbox website, I'm going to make this guide specifically for the Beastbox, but this will apply to other types of leverless controllers. You want to get a good image of the actual controller. Now, I just went on their website and I just pulled the snipping tool. If you're on Windows, it's Windows Shift S, and took an image of the controller. And then basically, once you have that screenshot, you want to come here, hit image for your sources, and it should look something like this. You can see here I got my little Hitbox screen capture. So once you have that, the next thing you're going to want to do is go to the actual overlay page. Shout out to Chris De Joya. He's the one who developed this. It's called Trailpad. And I'll put all these links in the description, but if you go to trailpad.card with two R's.co, it'll take you over here. This is actually worth reading through because he has a lot of helpful info on just shortcuts, how to save profiles, things like that. But for setting this up, what we want is to copy this URL, come over to OBS, hit add browser source. We're going to call this Hitbox overlay. I think I have to call it 2 in my case because I already have one called Hitbox overlay for my actual one that I used that I just pulled up. But I'll call this Hitbox overlay 2. Our URL is going to be the one we just copied over from Trailpad's website. And you want to hit OK. And you can see here, now yours is actually not going to look like this because if you click on the Hitbox overlay and you hit interact, this is actually my preset that I saved. What it's actually going to look like for you probably is like the default. So something like this potentially. But if you right click when you click on the interact screen, you can see there's a bunch of different presets here, right? And the one we're going to want to use is Hitbox Plastic. At least that's the one I use for this. Now, one thing I'll point out is the reason, or I recommend actually initially setting the height to something like 1,000 or 800 or something. The reason is because when you click on interact and you right click on this, you don't see the full list unless the height is adjusted accordingly, and you can't really scroll on this. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's something that that Chris is working on, but something to be mindful of. But yeah, we want Hitbox Plastic as our overlay. Once that's selected, you can go ahead and change this back to whatever the height is. I think I kept mine at 400. So we'll just put it at that, not too large. And then what you want to do is show your image. You want to move the Hitbox overlay over this image. And then if you control click on Hitbox overlay, the actual overlay source and the image source, right click on this and hit group selected items. You're going to name your group Hitbox overlay. I'll just call this one guide, so it's a unique name for this purpose, but you want to just give it a name that you're not using already. And now you can see they're both moving together. I'm going to close this window out because I don't think we need it anymore, but I'm just going to move this over here on the right side so it's easier to see, right? So also shout out to my Expedition 33 background. Anyway, that's beside the point. So you have your image, you have your Hitbox overlay, and now you want to actually configure the buttons. So if you click on Hitbox overlay, interact, it's going to pull up the screen here. Let me go ahead and move the guide or the test overlay here. And here we have our actual settings. So what I can do, make this a little bit easier to view, is put it over here like this. This probably looks insane from your perspective since I'm capturing my window, but just the key thing to focus on is this interact screen and what you have here as your actual overlay. And what we want to do is right click on this. And you're going to be doing this for each button, but I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'll show you how I did it for each of these. Now, you want to make sure your Hitbox controller is actually plugged in, if I didn't mention that already. Makes this whole process a lot easier. So when you actually right click on any of these buttons, when you use the arrow keys on your kind of keyboard or the D-pad buttons on your Hitbox overlay, you can see it actually moves around. And this is how we're gonna get it to actually match up with the Hitbox image. But the first thing you want to do is right click on this and go over to symbol, and you want to select one of these. I went with this one, I think, in mine. So you want to select this, then you want to go to fill, and you want to select this option right here. And that's going to be the clear option. So now you can see here over on my overlay, the button's clear. And now that the button's clear, if we right click on this, I move this over, right? You want to make it go over the Hitbox. I think it's this one actually, sorry. You want to make it go over the button, over the image, but you also want to make this smaller so that it actually fits, right? Let me just show you what this looks like when you click out of it. So you can see this is what, oh yeah, all right, so let me adjust the overlay, move this over here. This is where it should be, sorry. And so for each of these, you're gonna wanna change the size, change the fill, and the button type, move it around so that it fits. You'll have to play around a bit with the size. Now, just as a heads up, it's not going to fit exactly. When you move it with the arrow keys, they move in increments of like 10 pixels, I think. So it's kind of hard to get it exact. But the key thing here is you want to make sure you pick the right fill and you lower the size so that it fits over the buttons on your image. And also, by default, you see when I'm pressing these, like, you can tell that they're being pressed kind of, but it's kind of hard to tell, like, if you have this as a smaller image on your actual overlay, if you're streaming or something. So what you actually want to do is right click on this and go over to the stroke option. And for the stroke, I set this to like in 5 for the in setting. And you pick any color you want. I went with this one. And so now when I'm pressing it, it's like a little bit easier to tell that the button's being pressed. Another note is when you look at the symbol options for these buttons are actually different than the symbol options for the D-pad buttons here, right? I went with this for mine, but pick whatever works for you. You just want to make sure you adjust the size, you adjust the fill to be empty, and you add a stroke option so that it shows that the button's being actually pressed, right? And then when you right click out of it, make sure you right click out of it before you press it, just so, because it's going to otherwise move it around on the D-pad. But you see how this is what it looks. Once you've configured this for each of the buttons, made it line up, what you want to do is hit Control F1, that saves that profile. And then when you press just F1 regularly, it'll load the preset that you have. In my case, I have it saved here, right? So this is what mine looks like. The end result should look something like this. And on the overlay itself in OBS, you'll want to, adjust the size, make it fit accordingly, make sure, try to line it up to as best you can, right? Have it look something like this. So when you're pressing the buttons, it matches up with the buttons on the image. Now your L3, R3, and touchpad buttons, you see these combo extensions, they're not going to work. I don't think it works with this overlay. If someone's found a way to make it work, let me know, because that'd be cool. But yeah, this is essentially what the end result should look like. You can also add a background to this as well. If you go over here, add a color source. I'll just call this Hitbox background. I think mine was called Hitbox border, but yeah. I just selected black as my option. And then you want to, I think the height and width I set was 840 by 380 is what I had for mine. And so I had that hover over my hitbox. You want to move this into your group and put it below the image. So right here, play around with it, try to make it look, however it works best for you, how thick you want the border to be, totally up to you. but it's all in one group. So essentially your end result should be a group that has the overlay, the image of the lever list you're using, in this case our beast box, and then a background if you want. And then when you press the buttons, you're good to go. You can either do this as its own scene, or you can do this within an existing scene. I have it, my actual one, I have it in my PC scene. That's why you see a Hitbox 2, I copied it over. But pretty much, this is what, so I'll hide the one that we just worked on. The one I have looks just like this. And you right click on this. I always have mine centered horizontally, but there you go. So that's all there is to it. Again, shout out to Chris De Joya for developing this overlay. It's been really, really nice to use and very easy to use. I love that you can save presets on it. But if this video is helpful, feel free to leave a like. And if you're into fighting game content, feel free to subscribe. I don't normally do guides. I mainly focus on just fighting game videos and controller reviews. And I recently started streaming, so Shoja _ on Twitch and on my regular YouTube channel, Shoja. You'll see me stream every now and then. Don't have a consistent schedule yet. But anyway, hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or any suggestions on how I might want to improve this guide, if anything was hard to see, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a good one. Take care.